this video, I am going to discuss the explanation and history of the Testamentary Religion. The Testamentary Religion is a polytheistic religion based off the teachings of the Testaments. It is the top religion in the kingdom of Authorania where it was founded. With Testamentarian worshippers making up 82% of the population, the second most popular religion is the Hebrews religion. The Testamentary religion is not tied down to Authorania, however, with worshippers being found all over the mortal world, mainly in elf cultures. The Testaments themselves contain myths that describe events such as the creation of the universe and mortal world, as well as the lives of gods and demigods. While the Testaments focus on the worship of heavenly gods, it also contains myths on nether gods for context and explanation of phenomena. The Testamentary religion is made up of a collection of semi-cults, who each worship a single god or goddess. While worshipping single gods or goddesses is practiced, worshippers must also worship the other gods, just to a lesser extent. Only focusing on one of the gods or goddesses while denying the legitimacy of other gods and goddesses is considered blasphemous. Due to worshippers worshipping individual gods and goddesses, the religion is split up by churches that will focus on the teachings and myths of specific gods and goddesses, although these churches all fall under the umbrella teachings of the Testaments. The Testaments themselves are a collection of 10 books, each written over the history of the religion. All of the Testaments build on each other, so when a New Testament is released, it will tie into the teachings of the other books for continuity. The history of the Testamentary religion begins right after the founding of Authorania. When the Azarath nation subjected the Great Slave Roundup against the Kingdom of Morthania, Morthanian refugees fled to the small territorial town of Defner. The refugees eventually took control of Defner, bringing their culture, government, and religion with them. These refugees practiced the Morthanian religion, which was the dominant religion in Morthania. This polytheistic religion had many similarities to what the Testamentary religion would become, and had definitely inspired what would become the Testamentary religion. The generation of Morthanian refugees that occupied Defner considered Defner as a continuation of Morthania. Thus, Morthanian tradition, including its religion, was practiced in the new nation. However, this would change after the generation of refugees died, and the new generation took over. This new generation began to search for their own cultural identity that was not tied to the dead nation of their parents' past. As this cultural shift began to take place, a priest discovered a book in the forest that was simply named the Testament. This was a religious Bible believed to have been written by the gods themselves and placed into the mortal world. The discovery of this Bible was the cornerstone of Defner's cultural revolution, and the number of worshippers to this New Testament exploded. Much of the Testament's success came from the similarities it had with the Morthanian religion. The Testament outlined a polytheistic belief, complete with myths of gods and goddesses who were fundamental to the creation and running of the mortal world. Much of the gods and goddesses in the Testaments were recycled gods and goddesses from the Morthanian religion. The popularity of the Testament began to change the culture of Defner, and it culminated in the renaming of the nation from Defner to Authorania, based on the name of the all-goddess Authorania. "54 years after the discovery of the Testament, a group of priests announced the release of a second testament, which they claim was written after the messenger god, Docentes, visited them and explained more myths and teachings from the gods. This caused a stir within the religion's worshippers and clergy, who were torn on whether they should accept this New Testament as legitimate or not. The introduction of this New Testament, aptly named the Second Testament, caused one of the religion's earliest schisms, called First Testamentarianism. This sect rejected the legitimacy of the Second Testament and all testaments following, believing the one true testament was the first. This sect was popular following the introduction of the Second Testament, but it naturally died off over the subsequent centuries, being declared officially dead during the Third Ventrilio Testament era. The controversy over the legitimacy of the Testament died off shortly after the high priests accepted this testament as legitimate and made it canon. The Second Testament would be the religion's current testament for 1,528 years, until the Maximus Testament was released. The Maximus Testament was the first testament written by a single priest. All testaments after the Maximus Testament would be written by only one priest. I will make a more comprehensive video on each of the testaments in a future video. Today, the Testamentary Religion is one of the most practiced religions in the mortal world, with worshippers that extend far past Authorania's borders. I will be making more comprehensive videos on the Testamentary Religion in future series, but for now, I want to thank you for watching.